This November, no matter the outcome, we will elect our 47th chief executive. But first, we're going to take a look back at how the presidents became president. This is your countdown to 47. Looking now to Ike, Dwight D. Eisenhower. Prior to becoming the 34th president, Ike attended the U.S. Military Academy in West Point, New York, where he graduated in 1915. His early military career consisted of him being stationed at various army camps across the nation. During this time, he served under notable generals including John Pershing and Douglas MacArthur. When Japan attacked Pearl Harbor and America entered the Second World War, Ike was called into action. He commanded the Allied forces during the landing of North Africa in 1942. Afterward, Eisenhower quickly rose through the ranks, eventually becoming the Supreme Commander of the Allied forces and a 5-star general of the Army. He received the latter rank after he was placed in charge of Operation Overlord, where he organized the successful D-Day landings on the beaches of Normandy, France in 1944, turning the tide of the war in Europe in favor of the Allies. By the end of the war, General Eisenhower was a hero known round the world. Years later, after a respite from military service, General Eisenhower was named as the first Supreme Commander of NATO. In this role, he sought to maintain peace at the dawn of the Cold War. While serving this post, members of the Republican Party convinced him to run for president. Campaigning on the iconic slogan, "I like Ike," and on a platform of ending the Korean War, Eisenhower dominated in the 1952 election with 83% of the Electoral College. Dwight D. Eisenhower became the 34th President of the United States. The new Commander-in-Chief soon made good on his campaign promise to bring peace to the Korean Peninsula. Just months into his term, an armistice was signed, ending the war. By the mid-1950s, both the United States and the Soviet Union had developed the hydrogen bomb. The threat of destruction loomed large. President Eisenhower took action and called the Geneva Summit in 1955, where he hoped to negotiate disarmament. Although no agreements were made, the conference succeeded in easing tensions. In 1956, Eisenhower signed the Federal Aid Highway Act. This created the interstate highway system that's now used by millions of Americans every day. Ike ran for the White House again in a rematch election that same year and won in an even larger landslide than 4 years before. In 1958, President Eisenhower signed the National Aeronautics and Space Act, creating NASA. The next year, Ike became the last president to sign statehood bills, with the admittance of Alaska and Hawaii as the 49th and 50th states. Above all, President Eisenhower, despite his decades of military service, wanted to be remembered for peace, even calling for a prayer for peace to close his farewell address. Dwight D. Eisenhower served as President of the United States from 1953 to 1961. The time had come for another generation of leadership to lead the nation into a new frontier. I'm Eric George for Valley News Live, and this has been your countdown to 47.